Hey everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. It's Terry, your host here. So I'm coming to you from Troutdale, Oregon, just the east of Portland. Rip City, Stumptown. All right, Rose City, Bridgetown, whatever. Portland has lots of nicknames. Anyway, so it's July 4th. I took a few minutes the other day to reread the Declaration of Independence. And I've said this before, but you know, when Jefferson penned that, you know, he was looking at it from like a written argument, right? Like a lawyer. And it's interesting to read, and I think if you read the whole Declaration of Independence, including the individual charges or individual claims against the Crown, you may find that you're reading some stuff that sounds eerily familiar. And so I commend that to you, and that you take a look at that again. If you've never read the whole thing, it's important to read the whole thing. And, you know, think about, you know, what it is that they were saying about the government that they had at the time. So anyway, July 4th, also the anniversary of the surrender of Vicksburg. Grant conducted a pretty sound military campaign to basically crush the resistance in Vicksburg, and that was strategically important because Vicksburg was the last like stronghold and choke point on the Mississippi River, and it was important to get the Mississippi River in Union hands, because then all of those places to the north, like, you know, Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, all those northern states that produced so much, you know, cattle and pigs and grain and stuff, all that stuff could move down the Mississippi to markets that needed it. So that was important, because we didn't move as much by rail then as we do today. And also, we still move a ton. I mean, millions of tons of stuff via our waterways. If you've ever seen those barges on the Mississippi or the Missouri River or wherever, the Ohio River, you see them in a lot of places if you look for them. And we still transport a lot of stuff via barge. So I wanted to talk today briefly. I know some other YouTubers, some more famous than I, have mentioned this, but you know, the technology situation at Prime has become intolerable. Omnitrax or Qualcomm is like a disease. They just did an update to it, and it's worse than it was, okay? Because, for example, now, and I don't know if I don't know how it updated, because I never sign up for updates. I never update my iPhone. I just figure I'll work with the system it has, because then it always changes, and it's like, now I got to figure out what to do next. But for instance, right now I am off duty, but let's say that I wanted to go from off duty to yard move. Well, it used to be I could be off duty and just basically go on duty, and the yard move radio button would pop up, and then I could tap on it and I'd be in yard move. But now I actually have to I have to change to on duty, then change to yard move. And for instance, a while ago, I went to Walmart, and because we've had a little bit of time to kill here in Oregon, so it's been a nice little rest break. We're gonna head down to California to pick up a load that's going to Maryland. But so I had some time to kill. I wanted to go over to Walmart. He needed to get some stuff for the truck, and I get back here, and so I was in PC when I got back here to the truck stop, and I wanted to put myself off duty, but I had to I couldn't go, like, I think I couldn't go directly to off duty, or I couldn't go directly to like sleeper berth from PC. I had to go off duty first. So it's kind of, it actually got more laborious. So for instance, if I hit change, like if I was in personal conveyance, like all the sleeper berth, on duty driving, none of those change status buttons are illuminated on the left side. The only thing that is illuminated is off duty. So in other words, I can't go from PC, which by the way is its own status according to the regulations, but I can't go just from PC to, let's say, sleeper berth. I have to first put myself off duty, which is, you know, it's just another stupid step. It's not an improvement, and I don't even think it comports with the law. I don't think there's any rule that says I can't go from PC directly to sleeper berth, or I can't go from PC directly to on duty. But this system now makes it so I can. But on top of that, I've already shown the video where my machine takes like forever and a day to boot up. It still has this delay where, you know, you could change status, and what do? You hit, you know, you go to change, and then you hit OK, and then you hit OK again, and then like after hitting OK like 9 or 10 times, it changes status. The reason that that's so irksome is because, well, first of all, it's slow as shit. But second of all, like when you've arrived at a shipper or receiver, right? What do? You pull in, you've been in driving. Then you put yourself on duty, you go, you check in, you come back to the truck. Let's say you're at a Walmart. You come back to the truck, you want to what? Go to yard move, right? How many times have you gotten back in the truck, start the engine up, right? Because you're not supposed to idle a lot of times. You start the engine up, and you try to tell it to go to on duty, or excuse me, to yard move, and which, by the way, now, if you weren't already in on duty, well, I take it back, you'd have had to go through the on duty part, but you push the button, and then there's that stupid ass drop down menu, and then if you want to type in comments, man, forget about it. That's going to be about a 5-minute evolution. And then you hit the OK button like 9 times. Meanwhile, the guy behind you is like, why won't this guy pull forward? He came out of the booth. So I just don't get why we have this system. But to add insult to injury, the other night, it was just, the whole damn thing was just going bonkers. Like, you'd be driving down the highway, it would just shut off. I don't pay for the navigation on this stupid thing, and the reason is, the reason is that I've had navigation on these before at other companies where it would just shut off, like right when you're like 1.5 miles but 7 turns away from your destination. Or you're driving through a big city and, you know, you kind of need to know where you're supposed to go. And, you know, it's kind of funny because I think there's this there's erroneous belief that I don't let my trainees use GPS, which is false. But part of the reason that I very strongly promote reading maps and understanding where you're going before you get on the road is because these systems are so unreliable. And for somebody that, let's say, uses the nav on this, I've seen instances where messages went out where people were like 400 miles out of route, and they're like, oh, the nav has shit the bed, so don't rely on it. Well, on a weekly basis, there is an enormous amount of evidence of how unreliable and crappy this system is. Like every single week. I bet if I went back and checked my messages, I would find message traffic from week after week after week after week of messages saying, oh, yeah, we're aware that Qualcomm is down and we're working on it, they're working on it. And my message about that is, who gives a fuck, right? It doesn't work. I don't care that that this system that you want me to rely upon is down. That's like somebody coming over when you're standing in your front yard waiting for the fire department going, hey dude, I think your house is on fire. Who gives a fuck? I already know the house is on fire. I already know this system sucks. So why is it that a company that has billions, not millions, billions with a B in revenue can't do better? Because there are systems out there that are much better. Okay, I used a system at GP Transco, which is a much smaller but technologically nimble company, right? Because truthfully, there are a lot of young people running the place, younger, and they're not so burdened by this, these old ideas. That we use a system called Samsara. Now, Samsara to me wasn't the best system, but as we went, I would see improvements to it. It's web-based, right? And the company gave out tablets. My tablet didn't charge great, but what I did is I just put Samsara on my phone. So I pull into a truck stop, I leave myself in drive, I go in, I get on the crapper, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to put myself off duty. What do? Do I sit there and crap while my on-duty clock's running? No. I pull out my phone, put myself off duty. Done. Right? That's how it should be. It's web-based, and if you're not in an area, although the trucks had Wi-Fi, but if you're not in an area where it will work, all you do, you could still use the app. It just catches up once it gets a signal. The other thing I would say is that the phone system, okay, I can't tell you how many times I have been on hold for literally a half an hour, and then the music cuts out, and then I hear some clicks, and then I get hung up on. No one ever talks. This has happened over and over again with my fleet manager, with trying to call night dispatch, with trying to call live loaded calls. I got a call the other day from, number pops up, Prime Inc., 417 area code, right? Hello? I get a message. Hey, I was saying hello, but you couldn't hear me. Okay? My phone works. And just today, I get a message from Weekend Dispatch, and I'm sure you all did. Oh, the phone system is up now. You know what that tells me? The phone system was down. This is a multi-billion-dollar company, and we have a phone system that is not robust, and it has way more downtime than you would think they would be okay with. Way more downtime and way more dropped calls. And it just goes on. It's like, this is not rocket science, okay? It might be computer science or phone science, communication science, but it's not rocket science, right? the phone system, that whoever runs technology at Prime is really just, behind the times, right? I feel like at Prime, I could open a door in somewhere and go in, and there's like some giant ass mainframe computer in there that says like IBM on the side of it or whatever, or General Electric, and they're still running this thing because they haven't upgraded to Blade servers or whatever. And by the way, I'm no technophile. I don't know that much about technology, but I know unreliability when I see it. And so I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, because certainly I've complained through formal channels. I don't know what it's going to take, but I really think it's incredibly dumb that you have this company that, I mean, Prime is a huge company. Prime has a ton of moving parts, and it's not a small company. It generates billions in revenue, and this is something that shouldn't be happening in 2022. We shouldn't have these problems at this point. But the thing is, right, like, this is like if you had an iPhone 3. I mean, I don't really know the history of technology well enough to kind of analogize this, but it's pretty ridiculous. And I again, like, my friend Lyle said, it's not enough to make him quit the company, and he's right, it's not. But I got to tell you that I'm not very interested in, like, doing workarounds for something that I shouldn't have to do workarounds on. Like, when I call and the phone system doesn't work for a live loaded call, I don't sit around waiting for another half an hour to get through. I just go down the road. And if they're like, "Oh, you didn't make your live load call," I'll be like, "Yeah, I did. I called. The system doesn't work. It's not my problem." Okay? I sent an electronic loaded call via the app, which, by the way, does seem to work pretty good. Like, somebody knows what they're doing, but not the people that make the big calls, deciding what technology to use. But the app works great. As far as I can tell, I haven't really had any problems with the app. But hey, I sent a loaded call in electronically. If you want a live loaded call, then get a phone system that works. And as far as like messages on the Qualcomm, that's a joke. I mean, think about it, right? What do you got to do? You got to scroll up, then it scrolls you back down, then you try to scroll up again. I mean, it's so freaking lame. So anyway, if you've listened this long, thanks for listening. I know you probably have felt my pain, but it's a daily refrain. Oh, Qualcomm's down, the phone system's, that's back up, it's this, it's that. Don't send us messages about your Qualcomm freaking out, because we already know. Well, it's like saying, don't call us anymore about that, your house being on fire, we know. But the corollary, the unspoken part is, but we're not going to do anything about it, right? Like what would it take? I mean, I don't know, maybe they get this shit for free. But even if they get it for free, it's not worth it, right? Because even if it was free, it still creates a lot of man hours of work just to kind of keep up with the bullshit. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. We're going to run down here to, Northern Cal. Well, actually kind of almost Central California, since we're going to be south of the 80. Down near Salinas, Watsonville, that area. Pick up. Going to head to Maryland. And it's kind of cool because we're supposed to deliver on Friday. My daughter's got a play she's in this coming weekend at her theater camp, so I get to see that. And then my trainee will have, I kind of miscalculated her mileage. I thought she'd be done this week, but probably it's going to be until sometime next week. But that's okay. We'll get this trip to the East Coast knocked out, and we'll just head west, and I can get her home or to the terminal in Salt Lake, whatever's the best choice. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.